Did you ever doubt yourself throughout the
Mul-
process with him?
Multiple times, multiple times. Yeah, even now, still sometimes. And I say, through the process, it's still the process. There's tomorrow. It's always a process. But there's been multiple times where somebody else could do better with him. He deserves more than me. I guess it's for my lack of knowledge or my lack of confidence in myself. I don't know. It's never really been him. I'd hit a wall and I didn't know which direction to go. So I just started chipping away at it. Finally, I'd get that little crack where I could start breaking through there, and that's when I'd kind of, all right, now we're getting somewhere. Let's relax, take a step back for a minute. Let's look at the picture again, see what we was doing, and reevaluate again, before we find have a breakthrough.
There are healers on this planet with the power to soften the suffering of mankind, yet they have remained in the recesses of the world, abused, discarded, and labeled as trash. This is The Touch of a Mustang. I am your host, Shalise Clough, and I'm here to tell the story of wild horses, Mustangs, and the humans who are discovering and sharing their gifts while working to protect their well-being and preserve their spirit so this divine power won't be lost. Join us on this quest with the Wild Mustang. It's great to have you on here. I'm excited to hear more of your story. A lot of times I have people who leave comments and I can just tell kind of from the comments, like they know about the Mustangs. It's been something that they saw. And I think that's, what I thought with you with some of the comments you left on different stuff online, that, yeah, you definitely had a story to tell.
Well, what you want to know?
Well, let's start at the beginning. How did you get involved in horses? And then how did you end up with a Mustang?
So, long story short, I guess, for lack of better words, is I've always been around horses. I wasn't necessarily born into the lifestyle, but I've always had access to them. Growing up, I rode and did this and that, cowboy stuff, I guess you could call it. And that's how I treated them too. But graduated high school, joined the military, come home, and took a whole bunch of roads that wasn't the right one. And there's a small little mom and pop farm, pretty local to here, that they gave me a chance when I probably really didn't deserve one. And it started out just kind of doing maintenance around there and taking care of this and that. Well, more I got drawn back into these horses and started messing with them, and that's been, I don't know, 15 years ago now, and was there for a long time. And then my better half decided she wanted a horse of her own. Well, this guy standing behind me here, we found him online at a place probably, I don't know, an hour and a half away from here. Went and seen him. He was wonderful. I couldn't have asked for a better horse for her. He's chill, calm, cool, collected. I rode him out, my whole little rundown whenever I go to buy a horse. He marked all the boxes. On the plus side, too, he was big, he was strong. If I needed to use him to work cattle, I could. And then we visited him 3 or 4 times, several times unexpectedly, just drop in on the people, being, local, because I wanted to see if it was the same horse every time. Lo and behold, he was. But then we bring him home, and we have a whole different horse. You can't catch him. You don't want you touching him. He would buckle in two if you were to reach out to him. Really? So something happened between the time, the last time I saw him and the time we picked him up. Don't know what it was, and it doesn't matter now. But it has taken me close to 2 years to get him to trust me completely and want to be with people. Kind of a backstory on this guy. So I think he was rounded up as a youngster, and he got somewhere out west somewhere, and there's a big outfitter out there that I know he basically rented the horse out for the summer to, different cowboy outfits and this and that. So I know he's been a pack horse. I know he's been a cowboy and horse. So he's been through a lot of hands, I'll put it like that. He wasn't treated very nicely, I'll put it like that. His trauma come through. And I was doing things with him like I always knew how to do, and it wasn't working. So I had to take a step back and look at the big picture, not only with him, did I mess up? This horse changed my life. He changed how I do everything. And I guess really the eye-opening moment for me was it was probably close to 100 degrees outside out here. And he was getting ridden that day. I was determined he's going to get ridden. Well, we was in the round pen, and we was moving and moving and moving and moving. And, he wouldn't even let me get on him at all. It did not matter what I did. I could lunge him both ways. I could turn him in circles. It did not matter. He could have cared less. He would have died before he quit, before I got on him. You know what I'm saying? 3.5, 4 hours later, I'm whooped. I'm ready to fall out. I know he's got to be tired and hot because he's the one doing a lot of the work. So he would keep on going. And right then and there, I was just like, all right, something has to be done differently. So it just, everything that I thought I knew, he showed me how much I don't know. So, and the rest is history, you know. He really opened my eyes. But now we're pals now. You know, don't get me wrong. He can still be a feral little horse. He can be hard to catch sometimes. He might spook at his own tail. He has his quirks for sure. But he has proven his worth to me and made me prove me to myself as well. So I'm indebted to him. You know, like I told you, and want to comment on something. He's so free spirited. I will never ever own him, ever. I'm just his guardian. He's trained. He's not broke. I'll put it like that. You know, and then there's a big difference there, I believe. Like I said, he can be feral. You know, there might be times when I need to go to work, and well, there is no catching him. He's just like, I ain't going that day. And even though we're buddies, it ain't happening. You know, it don't matter what I do. But then there's other times like tonight. He met me at the gate. We still have our fights, but we get over them and we go on. I don't know. That's kind of where we're at now. It took me a long time to trust him, though. You know, just from everything that me and him had to work through. Like I said, it's been a long road. But once, like I said, 2 years later, I'm finally starting to see his personality. Finally.
Yeah, it's a long process. A lot of people think it's an instant thing or a 30-day or a 90-day thing. And real relationships take time.
Yeah. It's just, you know, like us people, good things take time. And if you're in this business to make money quickly, you just might as well go ahead and get on out, you know, because it's not going to happen. You have to be patient. And once again, this guy right here taught me this. I had to be, because it was on his terms, not mine. As much as I wanted him to be, it wasn't happening. You know, he had to trust you, and you had to earn it, and he was going to make you earn it. So it's just been a long road, man. You know, like I said, it's been 2 years now, and I finally just got his hind feet picked up without a fight the other night.
Really?
For the first time. And I know he's had shoes on in the past because whenever I bought him, he had shoes.
Yeah.
But I'll put it this way. He was so scared of somebody grabbing his back feet, he would lash out. Not necessarily like haul back or anything like that, but you wasn't touching him. And when he finally got to the point where he was letting me touch him, he put all his weight on me and lean until I had to drop him. He's 1,600 pounds.
Yeah.
I'm not holding that up. You know what I mean? It's unrealistic.
Yeah, I have one who does that.
It was more obnoxious, you know, than anything. But take a step back, let's try again. And finally, we just, it was like the light switch flipped just like that. And I walked up to him, turned my hand down, just picked him right on up. Not a problem. And that was a big thing for me right there because I take care of my horse's feet. Now, mind you, he takes care of his feet pretty well, but I still need the ability to pick him up if something is wrong. You know what I mean? He's so stoic about things like that. He's finally, like I said, starting to show his real emotions, true colors, and relax. And that's a good feeling, knowing that I have that now with him.
Yeah. So going back a little bit, you talked about how you basically learned like a cowboy, and he kind of wasn't okay with that.
No, he was most definitely not okay with that.
Yeah. What are some of the, because I think a lot of people don't really understand how cruel some training is.
Oh man.
And you know, this is stuff people often learn as kids, like you were a kid when you were learning this stuff.
Sure, and things they see on TV.
What's some of the stuff that really just
spurs with him? I ride some of my horses in spurs? Absolutely. They need it. But him ain't happening. I can blow on his side and he'll side pass for me. I can go with my breath and he will side pass for me. He is just that sensitive. I tried to ride him in spurs once. It did not end well. I'll put it like that. People think you got to kick these guys with spurs. That's not what they're for. You know what I mean? They're and tying them down, you know, to do this or that with them. Sometimes, you know, medically it might be necessary. But I'll tell you a big thing for me is whips. I'm not against it. There is a time and a place for them. But you don't have to whip your horse to punish it because they don't understand. You know, 5 minutes later when you're still angry, they're past it. They don't care anymore. So why are you still whipping? You know?
Yeah.
But
man, that's a huge key that like we might think we're sending some message, but they're not getting the message that we think we're sending with that kind of response to them.
Yeah, no, we're making ourselves feel better. Because like I said, they're over it at that point. You know, as far as the incident that caused you to do that, that's because they're here, they're right here, right now, present. That's a hard concept to grasp until you just finally get it. and you probably know yourself. Like with him, I told you patience. You have to be present with him, and at all times, you got to know what you're doing. You got to be in the moment with him right then and there, because if you don't, he's going to know you slip up, and he'll let you know about it. Like I said, he's just super quirky, but I love it. I'm the only one that can take him out and go work with him, and chase cows and do what I need to do. But if I put him in the round pen, I put my little girl on his back, but only in the pen. He's that careful.
Yeah,
But
it really is incredible how I've noticed that with Mustangs that they will really change according to their rider for
absolutely,
better or worse. With kids, yeah, they notice.
oh for sure, for absolutely sure. There's something about Mustangs and horses in general. They know kids are kids and they're innocent. I'll give you a really good example. This guy right here. Mind you, me just talking about his hind legs and how just quirky he was about him, and like he would lash out. Left out the detail that I was messing with his hind feet one time, and he kicked me and tore my ACL and MCL in one kick. I left that one out. Yeah, so I was down for a little while, and that was another eye-opening experience right there for me. That let's reel it in, let's back up, let's look at ourselves, let's reevaluate something here. You know what I mean? Because when you're down for 4 or 5 months, you got some time to think.
Yeah.
Back to the kids thing though, I'd ridden him at a local campground down here called Wranglers. My wife was going to come down and meet us, but I got done before she got all the way there. So long story short, we met halfway to a city park. All right, he was still saddled and everything. I pulled him out of the trailer, and we was riding around the park. And towards the end, I was fixing to leave and whatnot. There was a kid of special needs that I didn't see him coming, but my better half did, and I seen her just get wide-eyed. I was like, because he was running towards his hind end. This little kid ran up to him and grabbed his hind leg, and he kind of jumped for a second, but he just turned and looked, and nothing. And I would just thought to myself, all right, big guy, I know you're lying to me because you just told me to take your feet from you, but I get you, I got you, and like I was scared to death, that all I could picture was the worst happening. Especially after what he'd done to me, and this kid's 6, 7 years old, and you can tell he's special needs, but he don't know any different, and he don't know better, but thankfully that ended up on the good side of things, you know what I mean? And it showed me something about him too, that he was just being kind of a butthead a little bit, about it.
I think they also kind of know the intention we're going in with.
For sure.
So
absolutely.
My horses have definitely reacted very differently because, maybe it was the vet. Then it would have been if we were just going in the pen for something else. Yeah.
And this guy, like I said, he's standing there pretty chill right now, I'd say. And I just got him dressed and everything. And after we get done, we're going to go ride a little bit and just relax. But they know he has different modes, or moods, whatever you want to call them. He knows when we're going to work, and he knows when we're going to relax, and when we're going to do something he may not be super comfortable with. I mean, that's all about that vibe. I have to center myself before I step on him every single time. I have to bring myself back down. And he's just not that horse that anybody just can just jump on, for the heck of it. He's very in tune with what's going on. So you have to be centered with him. But he's also one of them horses too that being so in tune, he'll keep you safe. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And he'll let you know when something's not right. I think I told you beforehand about there was one evening me and him was out, and it got dark on us a little quicker than I expected it to. And I didn't have no flashlight, no headlamp, no nothing. So I had two choices: either get off and walk him home, or let him carry me home. Well, he was a good little lick from the barn, so I just kind of, all right, guy, I don't feel like walking tonight. And I literally just had to give him the reins. And he'd dump me, he'd kick me, thrown like bronking fits previously. And I was, we got two options. Which one's going to go, good or bad? And he carried me home like a gentleman. Because out here where I live, it's dark. You can't see your hand in front of your face dark. And I was forced to trust him. And ever since then, too, I guess, me and him had so many just light bulb aha moments that it's just, I'm sitting here getting goosebumps just sitting here thinking about it, really. The way he's made me just change and reevaluate myself. Because I'll tell you right now, I'm not a trusting person by nature. I've seen the worst in people before, but he forced my hand, I guess, And I always think there's divine intervention and things, and I think it was one of them times too. I don't know. He's my guy, So,
what are the things he's demanded from you? If you're gonna have a relationship, how has that, like being present and other things that you mentioned, Has that had an impact on your life outside of horses, with your family, with other people?
Absolutely, all the way around. He's forced me to be a better human being because if you treat him unfair, he's not gonna be nice to you either. And that correlates just outside of these, pastures and cow fields and whatever the case may be. I guess you could put the definition of, you treat people how you want to be treated. And outside of that, he taught me how to love correctly. Because there's been more than one occasion where I'm like, all right, guy, you're going to a sale, but I had to reel myself in and thought of the good stuff, and needless to say, well, he's still here. But with that being said, and the patience thing, I've got a little girl now. She's 18 months old, and I've actually named her after him because if he didn't teach me how to love correctly, I don't know if I would have known how to love her correctly. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Love is work. Period. Real love is work. I put it like that.
Yeah.
And gentleness and kindness and just being forgiving, and understanding. And granted, she's only 18 months old, but she's a little pistol. She's a little female version of me, and it scares me to death. Okay, she has no fear. She'll walk right up to this guy. But that's my little girl, and I think about our past, but I have to trust him too, and I have to. I don't know. It's so hard to explain. It's just how I feel about everything, and I'm just and I try to take everything in the moment. I don't try to get too far ahead of myself. I can't look to the past because it doesn't matter now. You know what I mean? Can't change it. But just, I guess really the biggest thing is just being a better person overall. And if I'm going to love something, love it completely, and fully. Like I said, he's changed my life just to make me be a better person. You have to be around him because if not, he don't want anything to do with you. If you don't have good intention, he's not going to have anything to do with you. Period.
Yeah.
And I've proven that time and time again with him and other people. So because of that, it's made me want to be a better person because I want him. It's not that, you're not going to make everybody happy, but you can still be a good person no matter what you do. And he's made me grow up. He's turned me from a nice guy into a good man. And I firmly believe there's a difference in that. He's one of the horses too that, like I said, he was such kind of a problem child at first from all his trauma and there's lots of cases out there. And there's people that I feel even could have done better than me with him. That I wasn't deserving of him one time because I see his potential. I've seen his potential through all the crap that he put up as a front. I've seen what he could do and what he's capable of, and I think what he wanted to be. But just like us, he put up them walls when he got hurt. Breaking them walls down has been hard. Coming back with that though, I had to break mine down too to get over his, and we've done it together. Like I said before, I thought I was helping him. Now he's really just helping me and unload a lot of my trauma from my past too. Because I had to let things go. Well, if I can do it, maybe they can do it too. And it all takes time. Once again, it rolls right back to the patience thing. I guess that's what it all comes down to, really. Just gotta have more time than they do.
Yeah. Yeah. And I really believe that, there's particular horses that find particular people. I really feel like that with my first mare. She kind of came along just when I needed her and taught me just the things that I wasn't getting other places in life. And it sounds like he's really done the same thing. Not only can you maybe relate to his past, which I think is really powerful, but just the fact that he has kind of taught you the lessons you needed.
He has. He's made me grow up. And he turned me from a cowboy to a horseman because you have to be a horseman with this guy. And I'd much rather be that. I don't have. You see, he's wearing a Basel. This guy, he ain't gonna take a bit. Forget it. He flung me across the round pen trying to put a bit in his mouth when the first guy. It wasn't happening. Once again, had to trust him. I can peel that thing off of him right now and run him around, making spin holes in the ground. It all comes back to that trauma thing too. I guess that from being in the military and some childhood traumas there too. You know what I mean? He's brought them forth. Things that truth be told, things that I had suppressed that I couldn't even actually recall until after maybe speaking to somebody about it. To try and piece memories back together, if that makes sense. And it really brought just some hidden truths, I guess, that I needed to face. So he brought some skeletons back out, I guess, that I needed to get rid of. I'll be honest with you, one of the biggest ones was drug use. That's the ball and chain I'll always carry as being an addict, okay? I haven't done anything now in probably 5 years, but there was coming a point in time to where I was really kind of teeter-tottering with it again, just with life struggles, you know what I mean? That's really what drives people into that. I'd had some people around that I knew maybe kind of dabbled in things, and he's just like, he didn't want to be nowhere near him, you know what I mean, at all, completely. So he's made me stay sober. and clean
Wow.
because it just, don't get me wrong. I've got other horses out here, but he's really kind of my go-to, I guess, when I really need to get something done and just to hang out with. But whenever I need to be still, I go to him. And I mean, truly be still.
Yeah.
Of course, they'll kind of let your mind wander and this and that. But if you're not there, he won't be neither. And that more ways than one with that. There's only been 2 horses my entire life that I've been able to feel everything they've ever been through, and I put my hands on them, and I own both of them. So whenever we was first going to see him and this and that, every time we go, I always keep a saddle and riding gear with me. Okay, I'd always ride him every time. I messed up doing that, and I know that now. What I should have done is feel him first before I ask him anything else. But the very last time I went to go see him before I went home and got a trailer was I put my hands on him, like truly put my hands on him, and he broke me. He was this helped me look in his eye, but scared to death all at the same time because he didn't know what was next. You know what I mean? I knew that he knew something was up. You could just see it. All right, here we go again. Where am I going now? I don't know. It's just so hard to explain. It was like lightning flowing through me whenever I put both my hands on him, and I didn't care. He could have committed murder right then, and I would have still took him home. He will stay with me to the end of his days. He will not go anywhere else. He is home here, period. I've had people offer me, hand me blank checks. What do you want for him? I said, your pockets are not deep enough. And it's not because of how fancy he is or this or that. It's just simply what he's done for me, and I don't think anybody else can handle him, to be honest, because you have to know how to take him. And then, kind of like me, a lot of my friends tell me that I'm, a butthead, we'll put it like that, and you kind of have to know how to take me. And you have to get to know me, just like I've had to get to know him. And I don't think people would put up with that unless you are in this for the right reasons and you would truly see it, I'm sitting and talking about it. And I think really this is something I love. He just wanted to be seen at the end of the day. He just wanted to be seen instead of a tool. Like I said, he's big, he's strong, and he'll work out, he'll do everything you want him to. But a lot of people just seen him as a tool. And I've seen him for what he is. Yeah, I know. But and that's kind of the reason I put him in here too. I feel like he deserves the recognition too.
Yeah, I love it.
I wouldn't know how to do it any other way. That's one of my best friends right there. I have more horse best friends than I have human best friends, okay? I'll just be honest. I'd much rather spend time with these guys than anybody else,
Yeah, I know that feeling.
Man.
And I love what you said when you talked about going to see him, how the first thing you did with him shouldn't have been to jump on and ride. I think that's such a typical thing for us to do, right? We look at the horse and base the worth on what does he know? How well is he under saddle? And how would it change the world if we kind of stepped back and we're like, let's feel the horse first, and kind of see what's there between us.
Well, here's my thing with that. If they don't know how to feel themselves, how are they going to feel that horse too? If they don't know how to decipher their own feelings and emotions, there's no way they can decipher theirs too, That's kind of, I guess, really my thoughts on it like that. I don't know. I guess it could go either way, but it'd make you step back and really think about the whole picture. I think if you can't feel, not, and I'm talking like feel with your soul, not your hands or your legs or this, that, but like hear what's going on and what's their mental state and what they think about things. Then what you do doesn't matter if they're not okay with it too. You know what I mean? Because the reality of it is, any of these guys, I'm not tougher than he is. I'm not tougher than any of these horses out here. And sure, I might be able to outmuscle one or two, but I'm going to come across one that I can't do that with. With that being said, though, if you don't want them to do it, well, they ain't going to do it. But if you can connect on an emotional level, make them feel safe, odds are they'll probably follow you, and they'll do it for you willingly. And it's not a forced effort. It goes back to how much time you want to put in them, how patient are you truly, and willing to connect with them on a personal level, I guess, because it is a personal experience. It's a spiritual experience, really.
Absolutely.
I think one time I'd mentioned something to you about people who have brought me Mustangs in the past and the first thing they want to do is take the wild out of them. Well, I'm still in a battle with that. Is it fair to them? I still don't know where I stand on that, you know what I mean? But every horse I come into contact with, it's always, they get a little piece of me every time. It don't matter if it's, I'm walking through an auction or a friend of mine's personal horse and I put my hands on them, or I let them have just this little piece of something. That way they feel that little bit of worth or love, or just maybe if that just moment, they know what it's like, you know what I mean? And that's me kind of humanizing them, but I'll be honest, I've met a lot of smart people and some pretty smart dogs, but I've met some really, really, really smart horses. That's scary smart. That, it's just their intelligence level, but their emotional capabilities is just, they still baffle me and amaze me with it.
Yeah.
What they will put up with and they will tolerate until they finally say, no, I'm done. I'm not going to do it no more. And then you're like, wait a minute now, why you throwing a fit now? Well, you weren't listening.
Yeah.
And that goes back to me with the knee thing, him kicking me in the knee. I wasn't listening until he had to scream it at me. And when he screamed it,
Yeah.
So, but,
Yeah.
The crazy thing about that is he was telling me, you know what I'm saying? Hey, I need you to quit. I need you to quit. But I kept pushing. And yeah, he tore my ACL and MCL there. But you know what he done after that? He stood there and looked at me. He didn't run away. He stood there and looked at me. Like, I told you so.
Yeah. Are you going to
And,
listen yet?
and that's exactly what it was. He looked at me like, told you. You should have been listening, guy. And, I don't know if that was the icing on the cake for me to really, all right. I don't know the true turning point there. You know what I'm saying? There's just been these little incidents that's really just made me rethink things all the way through our journey together. Like I said, he's changed me. And I got another guy out there that I just got here recently. He's feral as they can be, but I just see something about him, and maybe he'll change me again.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I'm sure he will.
they all do, whether they're domesticated or coming from the wild. But there's something about a wild horse. They're raw. You know exactly where you stand every time. Every time. They ain't gonna lie to you. And it's once again, it's gotta be on their time. And I like it. I don't know. I just like it.
Hey, what was the thing that made you stick with him? Like, that was a pretty rough start, especially when he's, putting you out to where you can't probably work for a while.
No,
What
I was
kept
down
you
for a while.
going when everything was so difficult?
I don't know. I knew what he was capable of. I just seen it. Like whenever I felt him, I knew there was so much more to it that these were just. I knew they were walls. He was protecting himself. I can't give you an honest answer to that question. I just and I can give you part of that honest answer is my stubbornness. That's part of it.
Yeah.
To not want to fail something, and
Yeah.
and part of that too is because I was starting to recognize his trauma and he was changing how I was doing things. I didn't want to fail him because everybody else had. Nobody else had saw him, and I was finally starting to see him, and I didn't want to fail him. Even if I would be okay right now if he was a pasture pet. If that's all he could be, I'd be okay with that too. It doesn't matter to me. That's not that his what he can do in this and that isn't his worth to me. What he's done for me is where his worth stands. Like I said, I don't care who you are, you ain't gonna buy him from me.
Yeah.
So if anybody gets any ideas,
Don't even ask.
don't even ask. Well, you can, but you're gonna get the same answer. Not for sale.
Yeah.
But he's too special. I don't know. There's something about him, and the fact that my 18-month-old daughter can walk right up to him when this horse has tried to essentially kill me. I'm not helping him for just to do it. I guess I'm helping him for her too, because one of my dreams is one of my goals is that maybe one day she'll be able to step up on him, and
Oh, yeah.
he carry her safely. I think she will be twice the horseman I am. She'll be a horsewoman, and I think he'll be twice as good compared to when me and him first met. And I think that'll be a hard duo to beat, in a few years.
Yeah, I think that's going to happen. There's a good chance.
I hope so.
Sure.
I'm proud of this guy and just how far he's come. I mean, me and my wife, we talk about it regularly. I see the little growth, spots that he's made since we've had him. Even though the process has been long, it's been worth it because it's gratifying to me too. I mean, it makes me feel good. It makes me know that I'm doing okay. I'm doing right by him.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm doing him justice. And I hope I am. But, every day's a new day. He could have a whole meltdown tomorrow. You never know. But that's okay. We'll work through it just like we have everything else. Hopefully he can find comfort in my guidance where nobody else is giving him that opportunity. Because like I said, he was leased out as a youngster, to do whatever whoever wanted to do. He was just never seen. And he just, I don't know, man. You don't know till you know, I guess. That's the best way I know to put it.
Yeah, it is true. It's hard to describe when you haven't felt it.
It is. And I try to explain that to people. That's why, my with what I do here, this place, I just want people to experience what it's like to know the pureness of these guys. Because, like I said, they're sacred. They've run this land a long time before we have. I just want people to experience love from an equine, I guess, for lack of better words, and maybe set their heart on fire for him too. So I use this guy for an example of that a lot, to be honest with you. And I tell kind of people the same thing we've been talking about here, how much we've been through this, and it's just a whole bunch of crap. And finally, we're starting to see the light. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
but it's been hard and tough, but it's been so worth it to me because
Yeah, I think that's definitely part. It kind of almost gets worse pretty bad before it gets really good.
for sure, absolutely for sure. Particularly with these guys because they grew up running the land, and well, we took that away from them, and they're going to get to the point where I don't know if they have a resentment feeling, I guess for lack of better words, but there'll come a point in time where I feel that they test us to see where their boundaries are again, and that's where I think you have to be fair with them, understand their point of view, I guess for lack of better words, and take it into consideration when you're training them, and riding them too, because they might have that feral moment where, well, they don't care. They're just being a horse again, but trying to reel them back in with a reassurance and not be a cowboy and not yanking them around. That it just I don't think it does any good. Try to guide them back to the civilized world. If those moments happen.
Yeah, I like how you put that they test you, because I do think that they will kind of come with the approach, and if it's Mustangs are not for you, they're gonna kind of, I would say, you self-select yourself out, because if you're not willing to kind of reevaluate, start learning from them, it's
You
probably
have to
not going to be a really great experience.
Yeah, because like you said, it's on their time. It has to be on their time. They're a mirror of you. You're afraid to take, like you said, take a step back and reevaluate yourself. If you're afraid of growth or change or facing something you haven't, then you're not going to go anywhere, because everything I just listed, that's the same thing they're going through right then and there. When you're trying to get them to do this or that, you have to grow with them. Period.
Yeah. Did you ever doubt yourself throughout the process with him?
Multiple times. Yeah, even now, still sometimes I think, and I say, through the process, it's still the process. This isn't, there's tomorrow. It's always a process. But there's been multiple times where somebody else could do better with him. He deserves more than me, because, I guess it's lack of knowledge or my lack of confidence in myself, or I don't know. It's never really been him. I'd hit a wall and I didn't know which direction to go. So I just started chipping away at it, and finally I get that little crack where I could start breaking through there, and that's when I'd kind of, all right, now we're getting somewhere. Let's relax, take a step back for a minute. Let's look at the picture again, see what we was doing, and reevaluate again, before we find him a breakthrough. Multiple times, like I said, he's been by far the toughest horse I've ever had to work with my entire life, because he's made me reevaluate everything. He still amazes me every day. Some of the stuff I've seen him do, like, this guy truly will put thought behind his actions before he does it. And I'm not talking just like, riding and this and that. Like, he will think about something. If he wants out that gate, you're going to watch him sit back and think how he's going to open that gate, whether he's going to go through it or he's going to pick the lock, or what the case may be. Mustangs are scary smart. I guess you could, in the civilized world, you could say they have street smarts,
Mm-hmm.
But it's the truth, though. Him and my other one that I have out here right now, them together is dangerous because of just what they could do, and get themselves in trouble. They're so smart, they're dumb in a way,
Yeah, sometimes.
But
yeah,
that's what's kept them alive all this time, and got them here.
Yeah.
But when you learn how to take that and grasp it and use it to your advantage, not to your advantage, but to help them understand something better,
right,
things go a whole lot smoother. And that took me a minute to figure out with him, especially just how to speak to his language. And I tell you, really, what got me through after me kind of stepping back is everything that, like I said, everything I thought I knew that he showed me that I didn't know. To correct the horse, most of the time people are going to move their feet. This guy didn't care. So I took all punishment away. You did something wrong? Oh, well, let's try again. I'd let him recenter himself. I'd recenter myself, and we tried again. And it didn't matter if it took one time or it took 100 times. Those little behaviors that I didn't like or bad things eventually just worked themselves out and went away. And now, mind you, that doesn't work with every horse, but with these guys, I really feel that it does. And that's, once again, that's kind of just letting them figure it out themselves, you know what I mean? There's a level of fairness in there and respect, because they don't know what they don't know, you know what I mean? Especially if they haven't been born into the domesticated world, because they hadn't been, So you have to take that into consideration. I don't know. I guess that's really all I got on that one. But and it's like I said, though, taking all his punishment away, that's what I found to work. That's how I guess I got him to trust me. I've just found that, like I said, that by doing that, all these little nitpick behaviors have just kind of worked themselves out. And I've applied that with all the other horses. And don't get me wrong, they still get corrected and reprimanded, but I'm not my punishment is only as severe as the crime. So if it's something petty, they figure it out in time. But this guy here, where he'd been to so many different places, I'm assuming he didn't know what to expect. So when I took everything away, if he'd done something silly, he was like, he had to sit and reprogram and think, which is what we're always after, just getting them to think. You know what I mean? Because in order to mentally engage with them, because I wasn't getting anywhere just hustling him around, I had to figure out how to get through to his brain, and that was how I done it. Right there. It's worked on him, and it's worked on a few others too. It's not the key thing there for every horse, but and I never ever done that before until him take him along. It was always let's cowboy him up, make him move, and but he just didn't care. So
yeah, and I think everybody wants the easy horses, but it really is the ones that don't just accept everything so easily that are the ones that really teach you how to do it better.
Absolutely. That's growth requires a little bit of pain, and sometimes and I don't mean that physically, but just having to think things through and reevaluate once again. Not everybody likes that, and he wasn't. Not only that he wouldn't accept it, he wouldn't tolerate it, and that's the thing. It in a way it taught me what my morals need to be. What I'll tolerate, what I won't tolerate, from people to animals. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. When I say he made me reevaluate everything about myself, I completely mean that, 100%. I had to. This has not been an easy road with him. It's been, like I said, baby steps the whole way. But he's had to let go of a lot of his past, and so have I, in order to be able to move forward. We've done it together. That's really all I got on. We've done it together every day. I come see him up here, I'm in my barn. He's one of them special ones that's taken. He holds a piece of my heart, and all of them get a piece of me, like I said. But this guy, there's just something about him I can't explain. I don't have any rhyme or reason.
Yeah. Do you think there was something that prepared you to be ready to? Because you had to change a lot. I know with me, I also had to change a lot, which went down into my everyday life. Do you think there's anything that made you ready to
handle him? No, absolutely not. There was nothing
to be ready to
grow and to reevaluate myself.
Yeah.
Like I said, everything I thought I knew, nothing worked. When I said nothing worked, I literally mean nothing worked. He didn't care. He truly did not care. So that's why I was like, fine, let's do nothing. And I finally started getting my breakthroughs. Sometimes in the middle of chaos in our lives, we need to do nothing. Don't try to do anything about it. Let the answer come, and you will find it. You will know when it's there. And that was kind of, I guess, after me, these little breakthroughs with him after doing nothing, I was like, aha. It was a light bulb. I get it. And now, in the middle of chaos in my life, everybody, anybody, they have their everyday stresses. But if I can't fix it right now, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to let it consume me. We'll cross that bridge when it gets to us. So I have to be still and just not worry about it, and do nothing because I can't do anything anyways. That's hard. Everybody wants to be these problem solvers, and fix things. Well, sometimes you can't fix it if it ain't broke because it ain't there yet. You don't know if it's going to be broke or not.
Yeah.
So you got to let it come to you. That once again comes back to that being still and being present. Let's be here right here, right now. Being present takes practice, lots and lots of practice.
Mm-hmm. Especially in the world today.
Yeah, these things we're talking about right now, the hustle and bustle. Truth be told, if I wasn't talking to you, I wouldn't have my phone in this barn. My phone would be in the truck. And that's one way I keep myself present with these guys at all times. Because I get distracted just as easy as the next person. But this is my refuge, just like I want it to be theirs too. So by eliminating my connection to the outside world, I guess, if you want to call it, I have to be present here because nothing else matters. And I found that it has let me be able to have a better relationship with all of my horses in general, because it makes me see them. You know what I mean? It makes me really look at them, see their emotional state, see their mental state if they're comfortable. I'll give you a good example here. I've had a fence down, about a 50, 60-foot section of fence down for 2 weeks. They haven't left, and it's simply because I haven't had the time to go fix it. You know what I mean? So that tells me they're happy here. At least that's what I like to think.
Yeah.
because horses don't want to be somewhere. They're going to get gone. They're going to leave, and well,
Yeah.
here they are still. And I'm kind of proud of myself for that one. I guess I like to pat myself on the back because I feel like I'm doing something right
Yeah.
to give them that feeling of safety. It's something as simple as that. You know what I mean? Because I know a lot of people personally that if they get a fence down or an open gate, their critters are gone. See ya, they're out of there. I guess really one of my biggest fears with him is if he ever got loose, if I'd be able to catch him, if he'd go back to his feral state of mind. But he's had every opportunity. That makes me feel like I'm doing him justice, and I guess doing myself justice. I guess doing myself justice too, because it shows his growth in mine as well. If that makes sense at all,
Yeah.
because there's an open
Definitely.
door for them to leave if they want to go.
Yeah. To wrap up, share with us what you're doing now and how you move forward with your philosophy with horses now, and then of course where people can find you if they're interested in working with you.
So, I guess the biggest thing with it is I ask them. I ask the horse before I do anything. I ask them, and that could be something as simple as just standing in a pen with them and just standing there. It's something as silly as it sounds. I'll get down on one knee and I'll bow to them and I'll thank them for letting me be able to work with them if they want to. You know what I mean? And I always offer the horseman's handshake. The back of the hand. Let them come to me. And with everybody that comes to my barn and my facility, that's kind of one of my pet peeves. Let them come to you. Let them touch you first, because it's everybody wants to go pet them on the face and on the cheek. I think it's rude. It's no different than me meeting a stranger, and touching them on the face. It's rude. I wouldn't like it.
Yeah.
But
yeah, and a lot of horses don't. We just do it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, try to ask them before I do anything, and I apply that to every single horse I throw a leg across. I'll give them all the benefit of the doubt, every one of them, until they show me something different. And it's just I always look for their try. That's really been the big thing right there. I ask them and I look for their try a whole lot more. Whereas if I was blind to it, I was ignorant to it beforehand because I didn't know any different. But now, if I see they're trying to at least understand what I'm asking of them, that's good for me because I want them to understand the why of what I'm asking them. Then we'll worry about the finesse of it later. That just makes a big difference. In all honesty, that comes all the way back to this guy here. You had to earn his respect um, before you did anything. And still, even now, there's days where I have to ask him before I get on him. Hey, you care? Let's go take a ride. And sometimes we have to sit and think about it. He'll kind of, I don't know where he learned it or whatnot, but he'll give me a nod that he's okay. Let's go. That his sign of approval is his little nod that he does. Mm-hmm. Might be just a quirk. I don't know, but it's how I know.
Yeah.
And I gotta find that little signal in all the horses that I encounter of their approval. What's whether it be a lick and chew from them or some little strange thing they do. They're all different. All have their own personalities, and you got to work with that. And you have to be, like I said, you got to shift too, back and forth with them because what works for one may not work for another. And and seeing them and meeting them where they are. I guess really that's all of it in a nutshell. I guess is meeting them where they are and asking them. And it's made it easier for me in my horsemanship because a horse that's willing because they feel seen and understood is a whole lot easier to work with than a horse that's forced and just is forced to comply. I don't want that. I want them to do it for me because they want to. That goes back to them being my partner. But as far as finding me goes, 3Y Ranch and Rehab LLC on Facebook. That's really my main source of media that I use. Me and my wife both have access to it, so shoot us a message and we'll get back with you. And go from there. Love to have anybody out. I don't charge. If you want to come out and ride and just experience horses, I don't charge for that. I'll be honest. I just want you to experience and maybe feel the love for these guys that I have. If I can put somebody that finds the joy in them, and I can teach somebody what I know, and they take it and run with it, and they make it their own, and they can help other horses down the roads, and I've done my job. That's kind of how I see it.
Yeah. I'm
about these guys right here because I can think of a million better things to do, but at the same hand, I can't because I'm doing this for them back there. It's not for me. I want to help them. because the reality of it is they're already broke. I want to help them heal just like they've helped me, you know. So that way, I guess they can be good, outstanding citizens if you want to put it like that. Because
Yeah.
a horse that feels seen, trusted, and loved, I mean, then they'll always have a home, and that's important to me. That's why every horse I encounter, they leave with a little bit of piece of me. And do I know the reality of it is sometimes that doesn't always work out in their favor. This once again, this is a hard business to be in because it gets personal for me. Every horse is personal because I give them everything I got, and I try to do the very very best with them that I can. And so it is taxing in a way, but very rewarding at the same time. To see them come from traumatic episodes or series in their life and to want your attention now and finally coming out their shell. It feels good to me, that they're like that now.
Yeah.
So it's very, very, very personal, and on a spiritual level too. They're my connection to the higher power out there. That's how I connect with them.
Yeah, same for me.
Once again, you don't know till you know. Quite surreal, to be honest. It's just really hard to describe. You already know this.
Yeah. Yep.
So, I don't know. It really is. I don't know.
It is a hard thing to describe, but if you've been there and you felt it, you know exactly what people are talking about when they try to, and there's nothing quite like being with a horse.
No, and then if you seek it, if you truly feel it and you like it, you seek it. It becomes a drug. And that's really how I explain to people. I think Clinton Anderson said it that they become like a drug. Either you got it or you don't, and once you find it, you want it more. So it was very very true statement there.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you for being here, Jimmy, and for all the things that you have shared about your journey and your experience. And it's really cool to hear where you came from, this place that was difficult and traumatic. And along with your Mustang, you guys have taken you and your family and your little girl who's going to know the beauty of horses and all those wonderful things and all the people whose lives I know that you're going to touch both through your training and, through talking here. I just really want to commend you for taking the opportunity to learn and grow and make it into something so beautiful.
I try. That's all I can do is try. And, do my best by them. I want to, they all teach us something. So, and I take it and I try to run with it. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're definitely doing it.
I feel they all deserve to be seen for just being here. Literally, for them just being here. I mean, because we don't deserve them, really.
Thank you for joining us and learning about horses that heal and the humans who help them. We hope you'll continue with us on this journey. We'd love for you to subscribe on your favorite platform and follow The Touch of a Mustang on any of the major social media outlets. Please share with your friends, anyone who loves horses, or anyone who might be struggling and could benefit from this message. If you have felt the healing power of horses or help them in their divinely appointed mission, please reach out. We want to hear your story. As we say goodbye, always remember that the horse is always there to help you heal.